Hi, everyone. It's Coach Sandra, and I'm super excited to be here with Marcy Verburg. Marcy, you're a realtor with our Roncesvalles office. Is that right?
That's right.
And you're a wellness coach. What a great
hmm
combination for us. Someone who understands our business and understands the importance of staying well. I always say, and I'm never going to get sick of repeating it, we are real estate athletes. If you want to succeed in this business, you really have to take care of you, mind, body, and emotions. You've been a wellness coach for 30 years. So tell us a little bit about that because you've got some interesting knowledge under your belt. So tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, that's right. Yeah, I've been around this business for a long time. I started off back before even coaching or personal training was really kind of a certification or even a thing.
Right.
Yeah, so I was an instructor for a long time, kind of working with people. And then I also worked in a supplement company for a long time, kind of creating supplements and marketing supplements. And I have had my own gym for a long time. And within that, I also became, I think my whole thing around fitness has really changed because I think when I was younger, I was thinking, just about, losing weight, bodybuilding competitions, that kind of thing. And I think I have really evolved myself because now I see it more as kind of, approach to wellness, the whole thing. So I went back and, I did a master nutrition coach certification
Amazing.
and yeah, like do a lot more science behind it, but also like really habits-based coaching because we can all read something on the internet, but implementing it is a whole different story, right? So,
Well, this is
kind of
it.
working with people.
Exactly. And you said something really important there, the internet. Like we're always on the internet and there's lots of information out there. The information is not always accurate. And I firmly believe people want to make the right decisions for themselves. They may not always have the proper or accurate knowledge to do that. And that's why you and I decided to do this because if we've got to be strong entrepreneurs, we got to be able to have that stamina, to do it. And
hmm
speaking of stamina, today we're going to be talking about how to eat well and be a realtor and still be a realtor because
hmm
we're always on the go. Typically we're following someone else's schedule, or often it feels that way, or we're in the car a lot. And we can easily become fluffy in the car if we're not eating well.
hmm That's true.
So what are your thoughts around that? What tips, what suggestions do you have for our agents out there?
Right. Okay. So, yeah, one of our biggest challenges is, we're always on the go. We get up in the morning. We may or
Yeah.
may not have breakfast before running out the door.
Yeah.
Sometimes we leave the house with, not a plan in mind, don't really have any food planned out for the day, and we're going to get hungry at some point, right? In
Very
the day.
true. Very true.
And so I think we have to kind of step back and look at our goals a little bit in the first place. And so, what is your goal in terms of nutrition? Is it to just have lots of energy and be productive throughout your day and still have energy in the evening? Is it to lose some weight or look leaner? And kind of keeping those kind of goals in mind when we're kind of thinking about, okay, what are we going to do for the day?
Yeah.
And I think, one of the things I really like people to think about is, what is their protein requirement, right?
Mm,
And so the people I've coached, and we always do kind of a check-in at the beginning to find out what a person's actually eating.
mm.
More than 90% of people are not eating enough protein. And, so I think what happens is we don't really know what our protein requirements are, and they're significant. If you kind of look at your hand like
Right.
this,
Right.
your palm, this is one serving of protein, right? And so the good thing is you always have your hand with you. So it
Right.
gives you an
That's
idea of,
that's positive.
how much you're supposed to eat, right?
And
So
so
that,
how many servings of that protein do we need in a day?
so, a lot of women are around 4 to 5, and men can be, 7.
What?
So, yes, it's way
What?
more than we think it is. hmm
Okay, when you told me that I should be eating like 5 servings, I nearly fell off my chair, or in this case, my Bosu ball, and
Right.
um, and I couldn't believe it because I was having maybe two, three, and feeling like that was ample. And meanwhile, I'm not having enough. I did not realize that I needed to have more. And now you're saying that men need about 7. Like that's incredible. I'm really curious. I highly doubt the majority of our realtors out there are having, 4 to 5 if we're women, or about 7 servings of protein, for the men. Wow.
Mhm.
Wow. We just learned something new there. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah,
So
it really depends on your body size, right?
this is it. And
Yeah.
and I think it's harder for us agents too, because like I said, we're kind of, if we're not careful, we're following someone else's schedule.
Hmm.
Even though we might be we have our ideal week and time allocation, and we have every intention of following a schedule. Sometimes our schedule changes depending on the demands of our clients, right? And this is very normal for us.
Hmm.
So meal prep, I think, is really hard for agents because either we're running, and in that moment, we were having a conversation earlier. We're saying, like, often we leave the home and we're not feeling hungry at that time, so we might leave with maybe a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, and then all
Hmm.
of a sudden, an hour or two later, that's it. Our stomach is really screaming at us.
Hmm.
And so meal prep, I think, is one of the best ways. I mean, I do meal prep, but I still get stuck. So
Hmm.
what recommendations do you have for our agents?
Okay. So, if you have, if you're a person who's really good at cooking, you enjoy cooking, you can meal prep ahead of time. So you can make yourself a number of meals for the week, and you can actually have those all ready to go for the whole week. And,
Hmm.
take them out of your fridge in a cooler in your morning and have them with you. Now, that does take more planning and a little bit more forward thinking,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So that's an option if it works for you. If you hear that comment about meal prepping and you're like, there is no way I'm doing that, what, which is some people for sure, for a lot of
Absolutely.
people, what you can do is stock your car with things that are, protein-based snacks or snacks you can have in the car. So things you don't even have to think about on the way out in the morning. So fill your trunk. So a case of water, a case of protein bars, a case of protein drinks, a couple of types of nuts,
Hmm.
things that are not going to expire on you and go bad, that can stay in the car. And
Hmm.
then if you want to also have some more fresh things you take with you in the morning, you can have some fruit, some yogurt, buy little pre-made cup-sized servings of things that you can throw in your bag and throw in the car, right? So they're with you all the time.
What a great idea, because they're convenient. You can
Right.
always take that and toss it in a bag or toss it in your purse, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
you had also mentioned in a conversation we had about those companies that actually do the meal prep for you. What do they do? They
Mm-hmm.
prepare meals and organize it, and then they deliver it to you.
So there's a couple of different options. I mean, there's the ones that are really popular right now are these kind of meal kits, right?
Right.
So they prep everything and then you have to make it. The one little challenge with those is a lot of them are really, really high in calories. And so you kind of have to watch like which ones you're ordering from,
Yeah.
depending on what your goals are, of course. They are
Right.
great for families, right? Because you can
They
throw that meal kit
are.
together really quick.
Yes.
There are a couple people who do, protein-based meals. They'll customize it for you and you can order those. I think those are a great option for somebody, who's on the road and they just need something for themselves to take with
Hmm.
them.
Hmm. I think that's a great idea. There have been times where I've had someone do the meal prep, and there are companies like nutritionists out there that's
Hmm.
their main focus, and then they deliver. This one lady used to deliver Sundays and Wednesdays, and I thought that was, it was very handy. It helped a
Hmm.
lot. Not something that I wanted to do all the time because you kind of get bored of food. You want variety, right?
For sure.
I think that's excellent. So, what if they're stuck on the road? They don't have anything in the car. What then? Fast food? What do you do? What do we do?
Well,
How?
I think I think you kind of have to go by what's around you, right?
Right.
Okay. So if you're somewhere and there's nothing else other than fast food,
Mm,
that's it, you're in a rush,
yes.
then you have to make the best choice available from that fast food restaurant, right? And
Right.
so if you are doing fast food, try to center it around protein, try to find something that's got the most amount of protein in it. And then try to avoid a lot of the toppings. I mean, keep the vegetables, but if you go to McDonald's, for example, those burgers go from 250 calories to like
Yeah.
1500 when you start adding on all of the different things, the bacon and the
All
cheese
the
and all that kind of stuff.
extras.
The
My
extras.
goodness.
It's the
Yeah.
extras that are going to kill you, right?
Yes.
In those cases. And so, I would never advise somebody to go to fast food all the time. If you know that that's something you're going to do, maybe you could take a look at what their nutritional facts are and then know, oh, I'm going to hit a McDonald's. Okay, so I know this is the best option.
Right, right. What
Right.
about, what about sneaking into a grocery store?
For
You
sure.
like my honey, he was on the road the other day, and he sometimes is on the road quite a bit. And he was saying, "Oh, I'm really wanting chicken." I said, "Well, certain places have these roasted chickens."
Hmm.
And so sometimes that might not be, especially if we got to have like 5 to 7, depending on what your gender is. I find that kind of like amazing. Like that probably would have taken care of it for him. That 7 servings and that one, that one
The one chicken.
chicken. But
Yeah.
sometimes we forget the grocery stores.
Hmm. They're great because most grocery stores now offer takeout meals,
Uh,
right?
Very
And
true.
a lot of them have even a salad bar now. For example, if you're near a Farm Boy, that's a great
Uh,
place to pick up a meal. And they're more kind of GTA based.
right, right.
If you have like a, like a Whole Foods, a Farm Boy, something like that, you can actually go in and they have pre-made containers or they have a salad bar.
That's
And
a
their
great
salad
one.
bar is a little bit more loaded up. Like it's got, more options for chicken and fish and that kind of thing.
Right,
They
right.
also have sushi. I like the sashimi the best in terms of protein because you literally can get a plate full of sashimi.
Great idea. And who would have
Yeah.
thought about that, right? Because you can pick those up. You're absolutely right. And you're
Hmm.
absolutely right about the salad bars. I had actually forgotten about that. I remember
Hmm.
Longo's. I don't know if they still do, but Longo's used to have like this incredible, salad bar. And I used to get salad with like hard-boiled eggs, and that was that.
Right.
Oh my gosh, it was amazing. You're absolutely right. Those are great tips.
Hmm.
I love your tip too about putting stuff in the trunk. Case of water, nuts, like protein bars. That will help if you're in a pinch. And I believe hydration, like water is so important. Sometimes we feel hungry, but we're actually thirsty.
Hmm.
I've come across that with myself where it's like I'm so full, but I want to eat more, but really I'm thirsty and I haven't
Hmm.
had enough water that day. So I find that makes a difference. And you and I were talking about this earlier. We were saying about how I get brain fog when I'm dehydrated, when I don't have enough water. And
Hmm.
so you were saying, "Oh, I don't know what the research out there is." And I said, "I'm not sure the research either." But I have seen some articles out there that state that we get brain fog because the kidneys and the liver don't have enough fluid to flush, and the lymphatic system then starts getting sluggish, and
Hmm.
the rest goes,
Right.
our energy level. And if our brain doesn't have enough energy, we get that brain fog. So I'm really curious. I'm not going to wait to find out. I'm going to make sure I get hydrated. I'm going to recommend
Yeah.
the rest of the realtors out there listening do that too, because water is often important. And I find it funny too because we were talking about having fresh fruits and sometimes fresh veggies. Our ancestors didn't walk around with water bottles. So what gives? Like
Right. I guess they could walk up to a river.
they could have, but I think also a lot of their food was probably raw, and so they were getting a lot of hydration from that.
Right.
That's pretty interesting. Okay, so we've covered meal prep. We've covered what to do when you're on the road and, like fast food or whatever. And what about if we're at a restaurant, we're maybe with a
Hmm.
client and we're stuck. You can't bust out your meal prep. Like, what do
Right.
you, what do you do? What do you advise when we're stuck in a situation like that?
Hmm. Well, restaurants are actually pretty easy to manage, mainly because they've got typically a pretty broad menu. And so the first thing you can do is scan through the menu and see if there's something that suits your diet. And so I would look for something that's protein based. So it's a meal that starts with a protein and then it comes with like a vegetable or whatever else it comes with, right? So rather than getting something like a rice bowl or a pasta bowl or a sandwich, lean more heavily towards the protein oriented dishes. And then if you can't see something on the menu, feel free to just ask for what you want. So, for example, you see chicken on the menu, but it comes, with a sauce with potatoes on top of it, or something like that. Or it's a
Right,
chicken parmesan, but they have chicken. Say,
right.
can I please have a chicken and a salad? I see a lot of people saying, well, I just had a salad for lunch, right?
Right.
it's good to have the vegetables, but
But
it's
we've just
what we
learned from you that it's not enough.
right. It's not enough protein, right?
Yeah,
So if you're going to have a salad, pick a protein to put on top of the salad, right? So your typical steak, a chicken, fish,
right.
or if you want to stick vegetarian, like a tofu or even boiled eggs, right?
Right. I think that's great
Hmm.
advice. And most restaurants, in my personal experience, because I always change up that menu, they are actually happy to do it. Like I've never had anybody ever give me an issue. I usually sit down and I apologize to the waitress, you know? So
Hmm.
for those that are out there that are feeling apprehensive, because, you know, sometimes we feel embarrassed, you know,
Hmm.
to make those requests. But I really want to, you know, I really want to encourage our agents out there to do that and to make those choices, because it is your health, it is your stamina, it is your business at the end of the day, because your business is built on how well you function and how much energy you have, right? So
100%.
don't feel apprehensive. You know, I remember oh, I do it all the time. I'm such a pain. I always apologize. And often we would do it. I'd be out with my honey and we'd be changing, you know, just give me a nice piece of meat of something and the rest are greens. I'm happy. I'm a happy camper. That's it. And I'll get the salad without dressing. Just give me a couple of lemon wedges. That's it. And I'm
Hmm.
good. And they never even look at me funny. They're like, oh, that sounds delicious. Like they're actually pleasantly surprised. But then the best part is this. We usually get like the owner coming out and talking to us, the manager. We get flocked with attention. And, you know, this happened once, twice, three times. And my honey, being in the restaurant business himself, I said to him, like, babe, like, why is that happening to us? And he goes, very matter of fact, he goes, oh, they think we're food critics. And I couldn't believe it. And I thought, oh my God, that makes total sense. He said,
Hmm.
food critics will go into a restaurant, rearrange the menu, and ask for the simplest. They don't want extras. They don't want, you know, fried chives on top of the steak. They don't want any sauces. Any sauces that they're getting it on the side. I was like, I was floored. I didn't realize that. So, guys, go ahead, do it. They're going to think you're a VIP. Well, you are a VIP, but they're going to think you're a VIP on top of it. So, do not be apprehensive. Like, you know, I think that's great advice. Wow. Any other parting tips before we go?
I think it's, have a plan, right? So
Yeah.
just think a little bit ahead of time. Are you going to be out for 12 hours? You're going to be out for 15 hours, and think, okay, what's my day looking like? And if I don't have a lot of time, can I, have a few things I can throw in my bag to take with me,
Love it.
right?
Love
Yeah.
it. Simple and easy. It really is simple
Hmm.
and easy. It's just when you feel stressed. Oh, and stay tuned because we're going to do we're going to do a video on stress, but you guys will have to stay tuned. When you feel stressed, you don't think with that clarity to get that stuff done, right? For
Hmm.
yourself. Yeah. Well, you got to take care of yourself first. Marcy, thank you so much for joining us. If anybody has any questions or if they're looking for someone to train them around wellness, fitness, and understands busy realtor life, how can they reach you?
Well, they can reach me on Facebook at Marcy Verburg, or they can also email me at the Royal LePage address. So I'm, marcy.verburg at Royal LePage.
Wonderful. And I'll put that
Mhm.
below as well so everybody can reach you. Thank
Great.
you so very much for joining us today. Really appreciate you.
Thanks, Sandra. It's been great to be here.
Thank you so much. All right. Bye,
Okay.
guys.